conflict of interest here? So, I mean, just a rough idea, you know, kind of pass it back my mind. So I went to, Sean and I spent many days, many hours in prayer. What would you have us to do? We felt, yes, I should quit my job, resign from the board, and apply for the position at camp. So I did that. The board was rather anxious at the time with me resigning from the board, but they picked up the slack and carried it. And decided to hire me. I wasn't doing any applications, so it wasn't like it was a done deal. There were a number of applications for the position, but they, in their wisdom or lack of wisdom at that point in time, decided to give me a try. Our girls were in their late teens at that time, so it's not like they were young kids anymore. They were heading off to college, to Bible college, to university. They were looking at getting married. I'm sure they did in the years to come. It meant I was leaving a secure job, and for all appearances, this was a recipe for personal disaster when I looked at it. The first year, my salary was just under the $20,000. No benefits, no expense allowance, nothing. I mean, that was it. So talk about a leap of faith, and yet I really felt this was what God wanted us to do. And I thought, well, Lord, at least at the best it's going to be a one-year stepping stone. 1 year, and then you're going to lead me into something else. Well, we made it through the 1 year, and Camp made it through the 1 year. Amazingly enough, the Lord provided a logger who came in and said, can I harvest your bush at camp? I think we can find over $20,000 worth of lumber on your property. They found $22,000, which covered my salary for that first year, which kept camp out of the red for that year. Sean and I made it through, the kids made it through, the Lord provided. We didn't feel at all that we were sacrificing or suffering. And so the board decided to extend my contract for 1 more year. Well, last year was my 20th summer full-time ministry at Camp Carith as the executive director. God has been incredibly faithful to the Carith ministry and to Sean and I and the girls as our family. I mean, just incredibly faithful. Went into this position knowing that that's what we felt God was calling us to do. And felt that if God called us to it, He wouldn't hang us out to dry. He would look after us, and He has. It's been a tremendous 20 years. Has the road always been easy? No. Was I always at ease? Were there times of stress? Absolutely, there were. There still are. Did I ever in my wildest dreams think that I would be the director of a summer children's camp? Not in your life. I mean, that's the last thing that I ever thought I would do. I just figured I'm just an average Joe. Didn't have these skills or abilities, and yet as I look back over the years, it's exciting to see how God orchestrated every position I was in, whether it was working with Sean and I working with children's ministry, it was my time with Youth for Christ, doing event coordinating, my background in recreation, Sean's background and graduation from Ontario Bible College with her Bachelor of Religious Education, our backgrounds in camping, our times in the group home, dealing with social service agencies, my times at Sears with customer service and with sales and in marketing, my time even in insurance and the training I received there and looking at the whole idea of risk management, my time doing minor renovations, home renovations. The list goes on and on. As I look back at each one of those steps, I can see how God used it to prepare me to be in the position that He put me in over 20 years ago. And over those last 20 years, I've been incredibly blessed to fellowship with other amazing camp people through my time with the Christian Camping International Canadian Board, my time still serving on the provincial arm of CCI Canada. Just have grown with my relationship with them and what I've learned from them. It's been a tremendous time. Sean and I have been incredibly blessed to minister alongside some amazing young people. It's exciting to see the spiritual growth as these kids return year after year, from being campers to leaders in training and then on to summer staff. Some have come on to be board members, others still sit on our program committee and planning for the summer programming. We've been blessed to minister alongside many, many incredible volunteers as well. But fortunately, many of them have gone on, well, unfortunately for us, fortunately for them, they've gone on to glory. But again, the Lord has provided some amazing volunteers. Spring and fall weekends, spring and fall times that come prepare and work at camp. A number of years ago, Sean was blessed to come on alongside me and work with me at camp, permanent part-time. She looks after the human resources and the programming, and then I look after all the other exciting stuff like insurance and government regulations and changing legislation and all that kind of wonderful stuff. But God has blessed us. He's blessed us as a family, certainly has blessed camp. So if you ever wonder why God has you where you are, what's in store down the road, make the most of where you are now, because you never know what God's preparing you to do down the road through what you're experiencing or where you are now. Perhaps you feel God is asking you to take a step of faith, come out of your comfort zone. Just remember, He'll never ask you to do something more than you're capable of doing in His power. So what is my job now? The job has evolved, and that becomes an issue as the board looks somewhere down the road. I say this, I've got a board member sitting in here, and I've got some other people that know me, but the board is aware that I'm 66. I'm not going to do this forever. I would love to, but time does march on. My job evolved with me, and so the board has, over the last number of years, has been very diligently working at developing a board policy manual of how they want to go and how we're going to transition out of this into something else, whether it's 2 years or 3 years or 5 years or whenever. But it's God's timing, and we'll just go with His leading on that. So what is my job? It's been marketing, it's been food management. I've cooked at camp. We oversee the facility manager, promotions, designing of the brochures. It's just one of these multifaceted jobs. Somebody once said that a camp director is kind of like being a mayor of a small city. You've got to look after the facilities, the infrastructure, the human resources, the health care, food service, the industry, tourism, I mean the whole bit. So I thought, not far off in the description. So that's kind of what I do now. Whatever my hand finds to do it. You do it diligently to the Lord and allow Him to bless. So let's let me finish with just a couple of testimonials of why we continue to do what we do, both my wife and I. She wanted to be here today, but something came up and she wasn't able to make it, so she'd been much nicer to look at than me, but that's okay. I just want some testimonials from some campers and some from past staff. I just wanted to say thank you very much for the awesome time my kids had at your camp. They are looking forward to next year already, and Danny didn't even want to come home. I truly appreciate what you do for all the kids, but especially mine. Reading daily in their Bible opened their eyes to new things. They made new friends and experienced things they never had before. Thanks again, and may God continue to bless you all. The next one's from a camper, someone who graduated from our leadership program, a staff, and a parent volunteer. I've spent many moments thinking of this summer and my past years, and I am left in awe at how God works at camp. As a teen, I didn't truly appreciate it, but seeing it again from a staff perspective has connected me with God's faithfulness yet again. I see it in the legacy passed through generations. I see it in the spiritual growth of staff. I see it in the small changes of camp routine. I see it in the young workers who are trying to figure it all out, but still serve God. I just see it in everything there. God is faithful to His people and His mission. I love being back. Thank you for that opportunity. This next one is from a young girl who grew up as a camper, leadership trainer, and also in our leadership training program and was on staff. And she's in Curling University. I just want to thank you so much for hiring me this summer and the previous one. I cannot begin to explain what an impact that first summer had on my relationship with God. I learned so much in such a little amount of time. The nurturing environment, a loving and fun atmosphere of camp is truly a one of a kind. I just wanted to let you both know how much I appreciate what you did for me, as well as countless other staff members and campers by running camp with such dedication and hard work. Through your morning devotions, God instilled in me a desire to be in His Word and in constant pursuit of getting closer to Him. I am now a part of the worship team at my church and couldn't be happier. But at times it may not seem like it, God is working in amazing ways here in North Bay. I just felt like emailing and expressing my gratitude for taking me on that first summer when I had never even worked as staff before. That summer changed my life. I can unquestionably say that camp has single-handedly affected me the most. The skills, friends, and experience I've gained at camp will carry throughout my entire life. Maybe just one more. This fellow is currently in his third year at OBC, or Tyndale, I guess now. Camp has been such an amazing experience this summer. I have known God my entire life, but only in the past 5 years have I really started to walk with Him. Camp has been the main instigator of that. The environment it provides away from the world, distractions, and technology. It has been such a great encouragement, support, and help. Thank you. So that's it. Where have our staff gone? Some are working with Wycliffe. Some are with Youth Unlimited in Toronto. One is working in a ministry with Mercy Ships. So a couple are working in inner city kids ministries. A couple of them have run summer day camps for their churches. One's now serving with Rabbi Zacharias Ministries. They're working with InterVarsity and have done numerous mission trips. God is blessed. I just feel humbled and honored to have had the opportunity to work in the summer camping ministry for the last 20 plus years. I'm heading into my 21st summer at camp this year, or next year. I guess not quite 19, yeah, whatever it is, 2017 yet, but looking forward to another great summer of ministry and lives being transformed for His kingdom. I appreciate the opportunity to share today.
Well, thanks very much. I'm one of those campers too. Scared to death. The first time I went, I was 11 years old. Didn't know what I was getting into. The church we were in those days had never shared the gospel with me. I had no clue about anything. Once I got there, I understood and gave my life to Christ. That was a long time ago now. But again, amazing what investing in those kids is all about in the future. So thank you so much for your story today. We have a little memento of your visit for us today. It says strength. I am only one, but I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. What I can do, I ought to do, and what I ought to do by God's grace, I will do. And we know He's got more